What's going on, guys? C Jarvis 32 here again. It is late again, but I want to try to get these videos recorded and done almost immediately after I'm done playing. Um, so I just did chapter 4 of Final Fantasy VII, and I'm really liking this game a lot. As I play through it more and as I'm getting more of the backstory behind some of the other characters, it's getting more interesting. So in this particular chapter, you are asked by Jesse to come with her to the back up to Sector 8 to help her steal some of the materials she needs to make a bomb for the next job, for the next Mako reactor job they have. And we're not alone. We're bringing along Biggs and Wedge, which I didn't realize until I was playing it tonight, and I looked it up actually, that they were named after two Star Wars characters. A little more obscure, maybe not Wedge, but Biggs for sure. They're two Star Wars characters, two pilots in Star Wars Episode 4. They're friends of Luke's, which is actually really kind of cool. But we're joined by them, and you get a little bit more time with them and get to know them a little bit more. And I gotta say, I really like Wedge. I think Wedge is pretty funny. I enjoyed some of the moments that he had in this chapter, and I hope that more he gets to shine a little bit more as the game goes on. You also learn a little bit more about Jessie and her situation, and she's been flirting back, well, not even back and forth, because Cloud hasn't really reciprocated, but she's been flirting with Cloud a lot, and you actually start out on the back of a motorcycle, or not on the back. You start driving on a motorcycle down the road to try to get back up to Sector 8, and you go through this whole sequence of fighting on these motorcycles, which was pretty cool. It was a relatively easy section. Then you partway through, you are met by another soldier, another Mako soldier by the name of Roach, I believe. And he was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see that. And you had a fight with him, and it was one of the first boss fights you had. And he's talking about how he wants to do it again. He wants it to just be Cloud and him, which comes back in later in the chapter, which is really cool. But you do that. You actually go to the home of Jessie, where she grew up, I guess. And another part of the job that Jessie didn't tell Wedge and Biggs about is that Cloud was there to steal an ID card out of Jessie's father. He was a worker at the Mako reactor, I think, or he worked for Shinra, at the very least, and he needed she needed his ID card to get into this facility where the stuff she would need to make a bomb would be. And so you go in, and he's got Mako poisoning, I think is what they called it, and he's lying in his bed dying, basically. And that's part of Jessie's motivation on doing all of this is to blow up the reactors, because she believes that the part of her father's life essence is being sucked into the planet to try to keep it alive or something. I don't know. They didn't really say that, but that's my guess. That's kind of how I took it. but she thinks that if she can destroy the Mako reactors, that maybe her father will come out of this coma that he's in because of Mako, of this accident. Wedge and Biggs tell you about how Jessie wants to be an actress, and she got a starring role at this. I can't remember what the club is called. It's like the Golden Compass or Golden something. I don't remember. But she finally got a starring role there. Um, and the day before it was supposed to start, her father was in an accident, and it took him a day and a half to find him, and he was lying in Mako goo or whatever they call it, and he was not prepared for it, and most people don't survive that, and he's in a coma. Um, but you go and you take this ID card. You go and you fight. And Jesse has his plans like you need to cause a distraction, get all the guards and stuff out of the facility, so that I can go in and get the things I need. And then that ensues one of the coolest parts of this chapter, which is the distraction, and you are literally just fighting so many soldiers, and you fight these mechs, and you finally get to use the summoning materia, which is really cool. And I'm excited to use that more and get more because I know that there's a few different ones. Um, and that's where kind of I started liking Wedge. Like there's a part where a whole bunch of like these dog creatures come, and Wedge just comes out and just gets chased by him to try to help you, and gets it gets chomped on the butt, and it's pretty funny. It's this funny moment, um, and it comes back a little bit later, but yeah, you fight all these things, and eventually you get to the point where you're completely surrounded, and that other soldier Roach comes back for his one-on-one fight with Cloud, which was a really cool fight. It's where and during this whole distraction, this whole battle, all these battles, I really started to understand the the importance of using your abilities and using spells and using your materia. Like there's a materia called the assess materia where you can assess the creatures you're fighting, and you get to know their weaknesses, the things that can help them get staggered easier. And that's where especially during this fight, you needed to use that to your advantage because it was a pretty tough fight. I did fail it once, I believe, if I'm remembering right. But I'm starting to realize how important using materia and using your ability is, and you can't just hack and slash your way through because I mean, I guess you could, but it would be a lot harder if you do it that way. But anyway, you fight Roach. It's a pretty tough fight. It's fun. You you don't end up killing him, and he wants to do it again. So I'm assuming he's going to come back at some point, and you're going to fight him again, which will be fun. Um, so at that point, you're surrounded again. Roach kind of saves the day a little bit, but you fight your way out. You go eventually the I guess the group Avalanche. There's a main group that is a little less extreme than Barrett and Jesse and Biggs and Wedge and Tifa. Um, I guess they're Barrett kind of is the leader of that group, and it's kind of split off from that main group of Avalanche because they were too extreme, which is saying something for any like rebellion to say you're too extreme. That's it's a little crazy. Um, but they come in and save the day. Wedge is injured, or he gets like wrapped up by some chains and he's injured. Um, and you have to leave him behind. But Biggs is like, no, he'll be fine. We just need to get out of here. You meet back up with Jesse, and then Wedge is kind of just thrown thrown out of a truck on the way by, and you guys go and help him. And there's this funny exchange between Barrett and Jesse and Wedge where like they think that Wedge has been like shot in the butt or something, and so they don't show anything. This is a game is rated T, but like they just like he's just laying there on the ground. And they pull his pants down, but like the camera's panned away, and they're just like, "Oh, you're fine," and they like smack him, and it was a funny moment, and even Cloud gets has a little smirk, and Jesse points it out, and I don't know, like I wasn't really feeling. If I'm being honest, I really wasn't liking the characters. I really like Tifa from the first, or from the, mostly chapter 3. I really liked her. Didn't really like Barrett. Didn't really know Wedge or Biggs. And I kind of found Jesse annoying a little bit at the beginning. And I kind of thought Cloud was a jerk, kind of a douche. Um, but as I've gone through this fourth chapter really brought out some character, not character development, but it's delving more into their backstories and revealing who they are as people, and it's really helped me want to keep playing. Like I I really wanted to just keep going, but I knew if I kept playing, I wouldn't make this video tonight, and I want to try to make these videos. Um, like I said, almost as soon after as I'm done. Um, I'm done playing. So anyway, you guys at that point you are led by Jesse to this area where there's some parachutes, and you parachute your way back down to the slums. Wedge is with Cloud, and when you guys land, he shows you where not Tifa, where Jesse lives and where Biggs lives. You take him home. You go back towards Tifa's house, and she wants to make you pizza, which is kind of cool. She wants to do that for you tomorrow night, which is fun. Biggs is a little worried. He's a little worrier. But anyway, you go back to your apartment that you have in the slums. Tifa comes back and visits you. And something I kind of forgot. There was a point where it flashed back. Well, I guess this is a good point to bring it up. Tifa comes back to your apartment and talks to Cloud for a little bit, and basically asked like, "Are you gonna be leaving anytime soon?" And Cloud's like, "No, well, I seem to remember I made a promise to a girl here," and this flashback happened earlier, but it was a flashback to Cloud and Tifa when they were teenagers, and Cloud told her that he was leaving because he wanted to be a soldier and he wanted to be a hero, just like Sephiroth. I think Sephiroth. I can't remember the name exactly, but I'm assuming, just from what I've watched from other videos, I think that's the main antagonist is Sephiroth. But he apparently was supposed to be some big hero. And Tifa made him make Cloud promise that if he did go away and did become a soldier, that he would come back and rescue her if she needed it. And he promised to, and that's kind of brings that back into the future, where he promised to help her because she's having second thoughts about all the things they're doing with Avalanche. Eventually, Tifa leaves, and you're sleeping, and you hear I think it's Sephiroth's voice, and they're like these creepy, like hooded, like almost like Dementor from Harry Potter type creatures attack the slums, and while Cloud is sleeping, and you have to fight your way through the town to the outside of the bar, Seventh Heaven. And you're just fighting these things. I'm not entirely even sure what they are yet, but this is these specter ghosts type things, and you fight your way through. You get to the front of the bar, help Barrett and Jesse. Jesse's injured; her leg is hurt pretty bad, and you are asked to fill in for her on this next job. And you go and you prepare for that, and there's a couple and like there's so many cool materials. That's a mechanic that I'm super interested in, is the materia and the different combinations and things you can do, and it levels up as you go, so it gets stronger, just like your weapons. And as you level up, your weapons can level up, and the more your weapons level up, the more materia you can put into your weapons, so you can have a better variety of spells and things, which is really cool. And you can buy different items and things that have materia slots, so you can have a ton. I think I have like 6 on Cloud right now, or 5 on Cloud, and like 5 on Tifa or something like that. But no, it's really cool, and there's a lot of different kinds, and there's a lot of different combinations you can do, and depending on the situation, you're probably going to swap them out every once in a while, which is, I like that. Like, you can customize it to your playstyle, and then customize it to the situation, which is really awesome. But you board a train, and that's where Chapter 5 picks up. We're on your way to a Mako Reactor 5 with Barrett and Tifa, and Biggs is already ahead setting things up, I believe. And that's where that chapter ends. And again, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the story as we're getting further in. I'm really enjoying the characters a lot more. I'm even enjoying Cloud a lot more. And I'm not a Cloud fan. I've never really been a Cloud fan. Even like the only thing I know him from is Super Smash Bros. When he's in the Wii U version and the one on the Switch, the Nintendo Switch. But I'm starting to like him a lot more. I'm starting to understand why people say Final Fantasy VII is one of the best games of all time. And I know this is different. And I've seen Final Fantasy VII, the original, for sale on like Xbox and PlayStation stores, and even the Switch store. So maybe that's something, if that's something you might be interested in, a comparison, maybe if I can play through the original and see the similarities, see the obvious differences. I know there's going to be a lot of differences. I've already heard that. And I know that this is like a part 1. This remake is like a part 1 of 2 or 3 or something like that. I don't know. But it's not the entire story of Final Fantasy VII. But at this point, I'm really enjoying the game. I'm really enjoying the game mechanics. I'm really interested to see where the story goes. And I'm interested to hear what you think. I know there's not very many of you yet watching, but let me know how you're liking these videos. If there's something you want me to do different, do you want them longer? Would you like them shorter? And let me know if you've played this game, and how you feel about it, and if you think it's worth playing, if it's worth picking up, or maybe you played the original and maybe you can point out some of the differences so far in the story. Try to avoid spoilers. I know I have a few spoilers, but I want to try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed what I had to say. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with anyone who you might think might enjoy it. Maybe that you have someone who's talked about wanting to play this game, and they want a newcomer's view to it. And I feel like I do a pretty good job of, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I feel like I do a decent job of explaining how it goes. But anyway, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. It's Jarvis32, signing off.